going on, everybody? My name is Michael Weir, and this is my movie review for the movie The Gentleman. Now, The Gentleman came out back in January of this year, and I did have a chance to go see it and shoot a review for it, but when I went to edit it, I just didn't like what I had. I just felt like I didn't put enough quality into it, or maybe just, I don't know. I didn't like it. So I was like, later on in the year, it'll be able to rent, and I'll rent it. I liked it as much the second time around, which makes me glad I watched it a second time. Let's do the review. So guys, the movie The Gentleman is directed by Guy Ritchie, who directed movies like Sherlock Holmes 1 and 2. I know 2 is called A Game of Shadows. And then he directed the movie Snatch. Now, I like the Sherlock Holmes movies, but I love Snatch. Snatch is a great movie, great crime movie, great heist movie, and it's got a lot of comedy mixed in. And when I saw the previews for this movie, I was like, maybe he's doing the same sort of magic twice, which is very rare. And he did. He really did. The movie stars Matthew McConaughey as like this drug lord who wants to sell his business. It also stars Charlie Hunnam as Matthew McConaughey's right-hand man. It stars Colin Farrell as a boxing promoter who owns his own gym, and he's got a bunch of very, very strong men at his gym. It stars Jeremy Strong and Henry Golding as kind of the two baddies throughout the movie. The last person to note, guys, is Hugh Grant. Hugh Grant's in this movie, and normally when I see Hugh Grant, I'm like, yep, that's him. He's got a very noticeable face. But actually, in this movie, they did a good job completely masking him. I had no idea it was him until the second time I watched it. I was like, hey, that is Hugh Grant. How do you like that? I saw his name in the titles, and I was like, is that really Hugh Grant? Where's he at? And then I realized it was him. So that's cool. Hugh Grant was in this movie. Essentially, this movie is being told to you by Hugh Grant to Charlie Hunnam. You're getting all the backstory for all the characters from Hugh Grant, who plays this news reporter who's trying to break a story on everybody and also blackmail everybody at the same time. Will it work out for him? You gotta watch the movie to find out. And actually, that's kind of the only synopsis I can give you, because I feel like if I go into too much of this movie, I'll start spoiling things, because there's a lot of stuff that could be spoiled, but just giving you minor plot details from this movie. So I'm going to jump into things I like, things I dislike, and give you a rating. The first thing I like about this movie, guys, the acting is perfect. It really is, and it's very rare that I say that, because I always feel like there's a weak link somewhere in the chain. Everybody's awesome in this movie, and everybody committed to this movie, which is another quality this movie has that is similar to the movie Snatch that I love so much, because it seems like every actor really committed to their role. Another thing I really liked about this movie, guys, is the action. The action in this movie, there's not a ton of it. It's not a super action movie. I'd say there's probably the same amount of action in this movie as there is in Snatch. Again, I keep comparing the two, but I feel like he really did strike lightning in a bottle twice. Capture lightning in a bottle twice? What's the saying? I don't know. Moving on. The final thing I really like about this movie is how he pulls it all together. We had talked recently in another review about how a movie had some good moving parts to start and then just completely fell apart in the end because they didn't know what to do with it. And I feel like this movie really could have gone that way if you didn't have a perfect way to end this movie with so many moving parts and so many great actors. And it did. This movie ended the movie perfectly. I feel like there's nothing open, there's no reason to ever need a sequel. It's just The Gentleman. You'll watch it, you really enjoy it throughout, and the ending ties up perfectly. And I really love that about this movie. If I have to get into the things I dislike, guys, well, there's not too much I dislike about this movie, because I think this is my favorite movie so far this year. Not that there's been a lot, but it is my favorite movie so far this year. And one of the things, if I have a dislike for it, it's the way they tell the story. Now, I really like the story itself, but because Hugh Grant is telling the story to Charlie Hunnam for the majority of this movie, they'll kind of stop each other mid-sentence, and because they stop each other mid-sentence, what you're watching on the screen stops as well. You'll get to like this really cool action point, and then it'll cut off there, and you'll be like, what happened? Or they'll be telling stuff, and then they'll contradict each other. Like, this guy will tell this guy a story, and you're like, oh, I can't believe that happened. And Charlie Hunnam will be like, but it didn't happen that way. And you're like, ah. So there's a lot of that back and forth. So I guess that's a dislike just because, I don't know, I really wanted some things to happen. But maybe that's a good part of the movie, I don't know. I really like this movie. With all that being said, as if I had to say it, my rating for this movie is best movie of 2020 so far. Guys, that's my movie review. If you enjoyed this movie review, hit the like button. If you want to share this movie review with your friends, make sure you do that by hitting the share button. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that. And finally, if you've seen The Gentleman and you want to talk about it in the comment section down below, let me know your thoughts on The Gentleman. We'll talk about it. It'll be a good time for everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.